Yep, we're ready. Okay, we will go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we can go ahead and do roll call. We'll do the,
Here.
here. Here.
Here.
Here. All right, do I have a motion to,
London.
yes, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Yes.
It doesn't sound like it's working.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right, for this evening, we have, we basically have two executive sessions to go into. If we can do both executive sessions before 5 o'clock, we'll do that. If not, we'll have to do our first executive session, come to our business meeting, and then move into a separate executive session after the meeting, our business meeting is over. So pursuant to section 24-6-4024B, the Colorado Revised Statutes, to confer with the board's attorney, Tammy Arrett, to receive legal advice on specific legal questions regarding the district's employment contract with Dr. Brian Hill, and pursuant to section 24-6-4024F, Colorado Revised Statutes, to discuss personnel matters regarding the district superintendent, is our first executive session. The second would be pursuant to section 24-6-4024B, Colorado Revised Statutes, for conference with legal counsel for the purpose of receiving legal counsel on specific legal questions, specifically to discuss the Orchard Mesa Pool. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
Motion to move into executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? Angela made the motion and Barb seconded.
Mr. Chavez,
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson,
Yes.
Mrs. Heights,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
I do need to stipulate, sorry, for the first session to discuss Dr. Hill's contract, present in the executive session will be myself, Director Jones, Director Lima, Director Chavez, Director Evanson, and Tammy Arrett. And then for the pool discussion, it will be myself, Director Jones, Director Lima, Director Chavez, Director Evanson, Dr. Hill, Tammy Arrett, Clint Garcia, and Melanie Trujillo, just so it's clear who will be attending each session. So, all right, we will now move in to our room.
Dan, you stand up here more often, Dan.
Very good. All right. Well, sorry for the delay. We had an executive session meeting prior to this, so we appreciate everyone's patience. We will go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. After the Pledge of Allegiance, we sit down and we have a moment of silence, and then after that, we'll do roll call. So if you can stand with all of us, we are going to go ahead and do our Pledge of Allegiance. And Director Jones, do you mind kicking us off?
I pledge allegiance
All right, thank you very much. We can go ahead and do roll call.
Mr. Chavez,
Here.
Mrs. Evanson,
Here.
Mrs. Heights,
Here.
Mr. Jones,
here.
Ms. Lima.
Here.
All righty, do I have a motion to approve meeting minutes from December 12th, 2023 and December 19th, 2023 meetings?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay,
Mr. Chavez,
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson,
Yes.
Mrs. Heights,
yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right. And now the fun part of our meeting is our recognitions. So up first, we have the All-State Jazz Band that, Director Evanson, do you have both of those? Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. All right. Director Lima will be presenting All-State Jazz Band and All-State Orchestra. We'll start with band first.
Would Evan Edwards, Max Warren, and Director Lyndon Marshall please join me at the front? Every year, students within District 51's music program invest hours of dedication to perfect their craft and showcase their passion for music. Each year, the band directors of D51 nominate exceptional students to participate in auditions for the All-State Jazz Band. The annual All-State Jazz Band Festival is an opportunity for the most talented high school jazz musicians in Colorado to gather in one place. Evan and Max were both recognized as standout performers during their auditions, since securing one of the less than 20 spots in the 2024 All-State Jazz Band. Evan and Max are exemplary representatives of the highest musical talent from across the state and will showcase that talent during Jazz Band Festival scheduled to take place in Colorado Springs at the end of the month. The Board of Education and Superintendent Hill would like to recognize Evan and Max for their outstanding work and congratulate them on this accomplishment.
Yes, and just as a reminder, Callie will be taking your picture at the end, so pause after your recognition so we can get the photo, please. Yep.
Okay, would the students and directors involved in this year's All-State Orchestra please join me at the front? Or all, both of you. The arts play crucial. Is it working? No. Is it working? I don't think so. Oh, now it is. Special touch, there we go. All right. The arts play a crucial role in a well-rounded education. District 51 takes pride in fostering students' involvement and excellence in the arts, including music, to instill lifelong skills like problem-solving, creativity, and collaborative teamwork. This year, 4 students from District 51 showcased their passion for music, qualifying for the All-State Orchestra Festival, which will be held in Fort Collins in the beginning of February. Students in the arts dedicate time and energy both in and out of school to prepare for this event, including practicing for navigating a challenging audition process. Being recognized among the most talented musicians in the state is a prestigious accomplishment for them. The Board of Education and Superintendent Hill would like to congratulate our 23-24 All-State Orchestra participants. From Fruita Monument, Director Rachel, help me with the last name, Lavity, thank you. Lindsay Gammon. And from Grand Junction, Director Nicole Roos, Nicholas Berry, and Emily Larson. Congratulations. She's going to get you a picture. Not everyone's here. Yes. Grab a photo.
All right, yes.
Next, if we could have the students and directors involved in this year's All-State Choir and Jazz Choir, please join me at the front of the room. The music program in District 51 continues to stand out as one of the most accomplished in the state. Students and their directors devote extensive hours to practice and performances throughout the year, earning them this well-deserved recognition. Selection to the All-State Choir and Jazz Choir represents the highest caliber of high school singers in Colorado. The audition process is rigorous, requiring students to showcase various skills and techniques at their highest level. This year, 18 students from District 51 have qualified for the All-State Choir and 2 for the All-State Jazz Choir Festival, scheduled to take place this February 8th through 10th in Denver. The Board of Education and Superintendent Hill take great pride in these students who have been named to the 2023-2024 All-State Choir. Congratulations to you all and your choir directors on this outstanding achievement. First, we're going to start with Central High School with Director Matthew Coronado. Central High School is represented by Addison Kane. Sophia Johnson. Robert King. Charisma Murphy. I love you. Megan, nope, am I squishing? And that would be it from Central High School. Congratulations, great job. Fruita Monument is represented by Director Aaron Marino. Megan Davis. No. Britton Hovland. Abigail Johnson, and Lauren Scott. I'm going to set these behind you. So sorry, excuse me.
That's all right.
My apologies. I'm new at this. Okay. Next will be Grand Junction, represented by Director Brad Hirsch. Our members from Grand Junction are Nicholas Berry, Sam Gudat. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Congratulations, Sam. Is anyone else here? Okay. Emily Larson, Gracelyn Stone, and Josie Nguyen. Next will be Palisade, represented by Director Matt Doughty. Solomon Brown. Give me a second. There's a lot of these. Should have had an assistant. Evan Edwards. Congratulations. Serena Flanagan. Jane Pitcher. And Olivia Sanchez. Our jazz choir participants are also Jane Pitcher from Palisade High School and Olivia Sanchez from Palisade High School. If you'll all hang around for Miss Kelly, would you like for them to do it outside or in here? Okay, if you guys will meet her outside, she'll take your group photos outside. Congratulations to y'all.
Next up, sorry. Next up, we have the state national qualifiers. Wait, is that what you have, Director Jones?
I have, state competition for the Legos, the third place finish.
Okay, you can, yeah, go ahead and do that first.
Oh, somebody first?
No, you're good, go ahead.
Will the students and coaches with the Mesa View Chicken Hawks team please join me at the front of the room? Tonight, we are excited to celebrate the achievements of District 51 students in the first recent LEGO League State Champ competition held in Denver. With over 50 students participating on 6 robotics teams, our district demonstrated exceptional talent and dedication. This year marked a historic moment in recent D51 history, as for the first time, 2 of our teams secured a top 3 finish at the competition, a testament to hard work and innovative spirit of our students. Recognizing the challenge of limited spots on the LEGO League teams and the absence of this opportunity in every school, LEGO League team sponsor and D51 teacher Liz Fitzgerald took the initiative to establish a community team. This inclusive platform welcomed elementary and middle school students from across D51, ensuring that every student had a chance to participate in the LEGO League competition. The success of this community team was evident in the first LEGO League Challenge competition in mid-November, where they earned a spot in the state championship. The team then went on to secure an impressive 3rd place in the Judges Award category at the state competition, and was recently awarded the opportunity to compete at the national tournament, a tremendous honor. These achievements, go ahead. These achievements highlight not only the talent and critical skills developed by these students, but also the dedication and collaborative spirit fostered by Liz Fitzgerald. The Board of Education and Superintendent Hill want to congratulate the Chicken Hawks on their 3rd place state finish. Your accomplishments reflect the excellence and innovation that define our district. We look forward to watching you continue success as you head to the national competition. Mr. Ryler Day.
Oh, hello.
How you doing, bud? Doing all right? Having a good day? All right. Connor Day. Holden Gonzalez. Georgiana Jurgens. Aiden Lawson. And Keenan Richmond. And their coach is Marty Fitzgerald. Congratulations. You guys stand up here, get your pictures.
Okay. Ready? Show me your certificates. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Alrighty, and the award for best shirt at the school board conference goes to, just kidding. All right, would Evan Edwards, Max Warren, Director Lyndon Marshall, please join me at the front? Are they here? That's not mine. No, you already went. All right, take two. Will the students and coaches of the New Emerson Innovators please join me at the front of the room? During their first LEGO League state competition, the New Emerson Innovators had remarkable success, achieving first place in the Judges Award for their potential and of their project that had impact on the mental health of the community. During the state competition, students showcased their talents in the following 4 key areas: robot design, robot game, programming the robot to accomplish certain goals within 2.5 minutes, core values like character counts, and innovation project. New Emerson won a Judges Award in their innovation project, which was aligned with the yearly theme of arts and technology. Their project demonstrated a unique approach to education by introducing a student-led lunchtime theater program. Clap, clap, clap. Consistently dedicated to fostering innovation and providing enriching experiences, our D51 STEM program witnessed these students showcasing their passion for STEM with dedication, creativity, and positive representation of our school community. These students exemplified the excellence of our program. The Board of Education and Superintendent Hill would like to congratulate the New Emerson Innovators on this achievement and recognize them for their hard work and academic excellence. Congratulations for this well-deserved recognition. All right, their coaches are Amelia Marquez, Teresa Fronsack, Miranda Bailey. Their team mentor is Jesse Wilbert, Jaylee Dolan, and then she's a community volunteer coach. All righty, Mr. Max Bagley. Bagley's? There you go, Mr. Bagley. Luke Bagley. Talia Conley. Azariah Dolan. Landon Frame. Parker Larson. And Julia Stephen. Congratulations.
How large of a team they are. I think I can.
Yes, right here.
Okay. Let's get it real fast. All right, if you'll hold up your certificates right in front of you. Wonderful, thank you. Congratulations.
All right, last but not least, we have the state national qualifiers for Quiz Bowl, first and third places, and Director Chavez is going to be presenting those.
Hello. Would Coach Shawcroft and the Grand Junction High School Academic A and B teams please join me up front, please? Under the dedicated leadership of Coach Shawcroft, the Grand Junction High School academic teams continue to shine, achieving success at the state national qualifier for Quiz Bowl in December. Both the A and B teams showcased their intellect, with the A team claiming the top spot and the B team securing the commendable third place during the competition. These results earned both teams a chance to compete in high school national championships in Atlanta, Georgia during the Memorial Day weekend. This competition brought the top 4 teams from across the state to complete head-to-head. The Grand Junction High School A team went undefeated throughout the tournament, shining a bright light on the depth of talent within our district. With seasoned experience with previous national tournaments, the A team demonstrated exceptional knowledge, strategy. Obviously, microphone's not A-team. Demonstrate exceptional knowledge, strategy, navigating intense rounds with tremendous composure. Even with the limited national tournament experience, the B team consistently displayed poise and composure throughout the tournament. Their impressive comeback victory against Stargate Charter, in addition to their performances against our A team in Alamosa in the second place match, highlighted their resilience and competitive spirit. The Board of Education and Superintendent Hill would like to recognize the members of the Grand Junction High School academic teams and congratulate them on the first and third place state national qualifier titles. Madeline Kowalski. Did I give you two of them? Sam Gudat. Jameson Whiteford. Neil Scott. Eric Turlow. Stuart Collins. Anna Stone Ewing. Thank you, guys.
Say spin on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, there we go.
Congratulations. We'll give everybody a couple minutes to file out of the room before we move forward, so it's exciting to have student recognitions. Yeah, there's a lot of seats now available for anybody who'd like to. I guess board members, I know sometimes we have a lot of recognition, so I do wonder if sometimes maybe a couple of us should go up and help one another, like while one is speaking with the microphone, the other one can hand it out. So maybe let's make a note of that when we have a handful of them, because it's hard to hold the microphone and do.
Thanks for breaking me in.
Well, I've done it before too, and I've realized, yeah, you only have two hands, so. All right, just help me remember that, and we'll try to help each other out when we have lots of recognition, so. All right. Moving forward, thank you, directors, for doing all of those recognitions. Next up, we have our board reports. So just like we encourage our students to share good things through the Capturing Kids' Hearts in their classrooms each day, the board emulates the same thing. So board members, are there any good things you'd like to share? Whether it's board-related or not?
Director Jose Chavez and I have had an opportunity to go out to some of the schools in the community. I think it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. We had an opportunity to come here to go over to the R5 side, and we had an opportunity to see the Outdoor Wilderness Program was here at the time, the Outdoor Wilderness Learning Program from Gateway. They were here, and they were kind of getting an idea of things that were going on over in the greenhouse here. And they have quite a bit of lettuce over there that's growing, so if you need a salad, it's a really great program going on over there right now. And then we had an opportunity, one of the security officers, Rob Barker, took us through the summit side. And then if you want to talk a little bit about Chipeta.
I really like Summit. I think the amount that the care they're taking of the children there is exceptional. The principal did not have time to speak with us because he was dealing with an issue, and I really appreciate that he didn't, that he took time to just tell us, hi, I have a child I have to deal with, and that was his first priority, and I appreciated that. I also want to say that I had the honor of going to the Keys performance interview Friday, and that, hands off, I mean, applauds to Sherry Taylor for all that she did, and I got to listen to Palisade and Central High School youth. They were totally amazing. There was one young lady that's 19, went through the Keys program in 1 year to be able to get it done, but she couldn't, she was going back and forth from house to another country, coming back. And she did it all in 1 year. She was exceptionally bright young lady, and all of them were just very smart young people that wanted to do something that just regular school didn't quite fit. And I appreciate that this district has an alternative that kids can go to and be able to be successful at and graduate. I was really impressed by it.
To kind of caveat off that, Director Jones and I had the opportunity to sit on the afternoon KPP program, and we had Grand Junction, and the last young lady was she Central?
We had Grand Junction, Grand River, and
Grand Junction and Grand River Academy. They were very impressive, well put together. There's a lot of effort that goes into those programs. So the last young lady, she's had a lot of stuff going on in her life, but she's actually a junior, and she was able to complete the program just due to a lot of stuff that's going on in her life, and the route that she's moving. But she'll actually be walking this May as well with her class. So it's absolutely fabulous. We also had an opportunity to visit, was it Chipeta Elementary as well? The one thing that I have to say is, like, I appreciate that we were able to walk in and just touch base with the administrators, and they're just so welcoming and taking us through, and taking the opportunity to show us all their classroom and their special programs, and we just really appreciate the opportunity to be able to do that, and we thank Dr. Hill for giving us the freedom to be able to do that. And just super thankful for the administrators that are taking the time to, talk to us and tell us about the special programs that they have going on in their schools and introducing us to their staff and their students.
It's great. That's super exciting. I'm glad to hear you guys are getting out to tour some of the schools. I think when we sit here to have to make decisions, it's different when you're putting a face to, the teachers and the staff that are in a building when we're making decisions here. So that's awesome. And I know they love to show off their schools, which is always great. So just real briefly, I'm on the Colorado Association of School Board of Directors for this region, and we had our board retreat and our first meeting this last weekend, so I left early Friday morning and didn't get back until later Sunday evening because the retreat was over in Colorado Springs. But it was a really good retreat. I'm going to sit on the, like I don't have enough to do. I'm on a committee for the Legislative Resolutions Committee, and I'll tell you that CASB is wanting to take a bit more of a proactive stance on presenting legislation to our legislatures that would be beneficial, instead of, sometimes we tend to just have to react to legislation that comes down the pike. For instance, sometimes the legislation that comes out is actually a bit redundant because as elected officials, as board members, we're already putting a lot of those things into place per policy. And so I think we're just working on bridging that gap to let our legislatures know that we're doing some of this work already. And I just have to give a shout out to our local representatives, Representative Taggart, Soper, and Representative Rich. They are actually very proactive to reach out to the district in all matters education to figure out what is helpful when they go back over to serve in their sessions. So anyways, I will keep, obviously, the board apprised of things that come about, and I will tell you that the CASB board did take a position of opposition against, I can't remember the exact House bill, but there's one coming out about books in libraries, and the CASB board took a majority position against it because it was pretty robust. What they were going to require districts to do to qualify books coming in that would actually have put, we already meet or exceed what we're doing as far as the book review, but it would have been a real burden on rural districts. So we expect that they will take an amendment to that language, and a lot of times you can't amend the language until the bill is introduced. So I'll keep you apprised of that. And the only reason we took we know that the intent of it was probably well-meant, but a lot of times, in these bills, it's the procedure, it's the how-to that can become the burden. The other challenge, too, is I don't know that they had actually reached out to any school districts because we already have a lot of this information in our policies. So to put it into law seemed redundant, but it could potentially go to the voters. It could potentially go before the legislature, and we could see what happens with that. So I will send that information out to the board on those House and Senate bills that are coming up. But that was the only one that CASB took a position on because we felt it put an extra burden on some of our more rural districts because they literally don't have the manpower to do the committees and the screenings that this bill was proposing for those things. So, and that was it. It was a good meeting, so.
Do you mind if I add something to that? I was going to save this for the open discussion at the end, but I know sometimes after public comment, a lot of people leave, so I guess since we have as many people here as we do right now. So I challenge our community to get out there and take a look at the Colorado General Assembly and really educate yourselves on the things that are coming down the line, because there are a lot of opportunities if you disagree or if you agree. To go online and have an opportunity to actually testify or to send in written testimony. So, a lot of these things are coming down the pipe and we're seeing them. And like President Heights said, we're already doing a lot of this, but this might affect other school districts in a different way. Today, I happened to be reading an article, and it's from a teacher named Katie Lebig, and she works at Edwards Elementary School in Eagle County, and she states, "Our greatest hope is that our legislators understand that our schools are struggling." And then it goes on to say who she is. It says, "Those of us that are in classrooms are working even harder than we ever have. This workload is exacerbated by rising student needs, unfilled positions, and substitute shortages. We hope that the legislative session will not result in more unfunded mandates that do little to support our students and create more busy work for the already overworked educators we have. We do not need legislators to tell us how to do our jobs. We need them to fund our schools adequately so we can address the needs of our students." So I feel like that's something that all of you feel here in this room, and if it's something that you feel strongly about, go into the legislative site, be looking at these things that are coming down the pipeline, because in the end, they're going to affect you.
Thank you, Director Evanson. I did find it's Senate Bill 24-049, and it's content of material in libraries. And you can read the bill. If you go to Colorado Secretary of State, you can search for any bill and read about it. So again, it was pretty cumbersome for a lot of our districts across the state. So anyways, the other one I think as boards we need to be aware of is House Bill 24-1073, which is an independent ethics commission jurisdiction, which I think actually puts a burden on school boards. And so we'll just see. Again, a lot of these will be introduced, and then we'll have to see where those where they come through. And then actually Representative Taggart introduced. He was one partner in House Bill 24-1044, which is the additional para service retirees for schools. And so they are trying to work with para, so after some of our teachers retire, we can only utilize those teachers in a certain capacity after they have retired, and we're looking at maybe asking para to broaden that so that we can bring back retired teachers who might be able to help as far as more substituting or even long-term subs. Just again, trying to think outside the box when we have a teacher shortage, and if we've got qualified people who can come back and help, we're just trying to work with para to make that advantageous for both. So anyways, those are just a few to name, but we'll keep you apprised of that. Maybe we can think about a way to put some things on maybe I'll just post about it. I don't know, how we could make our community more aware of some of these bills that are coming about, because I think, we have really great representatives, but I do worry sometimes how decisions that are made in Denver, they don't actually think about sometimes, our areas and how it may affect us. So we can kind of discuss maybe what that looks like to keep our community apprised. So anyways, not to, I know talking about House bills is depressing, but, and laws, but anyways, it was a great meeting. We have a great board of directors for the CASB board, and I'm very excited to sit on the Legislative Resolutions Committee, and so I'll bring you guys all those updates. Any other good things?
Dr. Hill and I got the privilege to do the Martin Luther King celebration downtown, and I got to read the proclamation, and Dr. Hill got to read one. I want to thank Black Citizen and Friends for their invitation, and it was a good celebration. A little walk downtown, a little nipply, but it was a good, good Monday for his celebration. So
Great. Do we have any committee or activity updates?
We've just been working on a lot of them.
Yeah.
We met as the DAC committee a couple of weeks ago, and we'll be working on just some little bit of restructuring to help them move along in the work that they need to do and want to do. So that'll be upcoming. And just a reminder for any of the community that would like to serve on the DAC committee, you might want to check into that and see if it's something that you would want to do. The other one is the D51 Foundation, which their big white iced event is coming up on the 6th. Is that correct? 4th? 3rd. Eventually, one of those days in February. The 3rd of February. So we're all looking forward to that. They work so tirelessly putting that event together, and it's really a great event to honor our staff.
Well, we've resumed our policy meetings, and so we've had one of those so far, and then we will continue to move forward with those. So I know Tammy's been working earnestly through lots of policies, more policies than there is time in the day, so thank you for that. Any other updates from any other committees? All right. We are ready for D51 happenings and celebrations. So, yes, thank you.
Good evening, board. How are you? Good. All right, so I get the fun part of the night tonight. I get the pleasure of shouting out all of the great things happening with our students and our staff and across our schools. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Callie Burks, and I'm the Public Information Officer here. And to kick us off, we want to shout out Natalie Blackburn, Pear Park's Assistant Principal, for being January's Golden Apple recipient. Natalie has been with the Pear Park community for 6 years, and her dedication to students and staff, especially in nurturing a welcoming environment for substitutes at Pear Park, showcases her exceptional leadership. Natalie's commitment to the well-being of every child is inspiring, and we are grateful to have her as part of the D51 family. Thunder Mountain Elementary celebrated the initiation of their new Climb tickets. The entire school had what they call a Positive Behavior Incentive System assembly, where Principal Stephanie Williams and AP Summer Kennedy spoke about kindness and positivity and the importance those things have in creating an environment of belonging. When a Climb ticket is earned, students can collect them and turn them in for a gold coin to use at the book vending machine. And like Director Jones mentioned just a bit ago, each year, Black Citizens and Friends organizes various ceremonies and activities to honor Martin Luther King Jr. Day, uniting our community and district in celebration of Dr. King's legacy. Throughout the weekend, District 51 had various individuals and groups participate in the events. Special thanks to Director Jones and Superintendent Hill for their impactful readings at the MLK Day March, and to the Palisade High School Choir for their captivating performance. And congratulations to Aiden Graham from Independence Academy, who was announced as the winner of the annual MLK Day poster contest. Aiden's design will be featured on the Black Citizens and Friends t-shirts next year. And congratulations to all District 51 students who received awards for their designs. And thank you to Black Citizens, this is a run-on sentence. Thank you to Black Citizens and Friends for organizing this opportunity to actively engage in celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. King. And next up, this is a big cause for celebration. District 51 has reached our highest graduation rate in 17 years. According to data released by the Colorado Department of Education, D51 earned a graduation rate of 81.2%. We have excelled past our pre-pandemic graduation rates, shining a spotlight on our district staff and students who have worked so hard during a challenging time. While we know there is still work left to do, this is an outstanding accomplishment that deserves recognition and celebration. So if we could all give our students and staff a round of applause for their dedication and hard work. Pear Park's Student Council crafted over 100 survival kits for officers at the Grand Junction Police Department as a small token of thanks and in honor of Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Students then delivered the survival kits to the GJPD, and the smiles on their faces, both the kiddos and the officers, say it all. Thank you to our local law enforcement partners for keeping not only our students and staff inside our schools safe, but also our entire community. The Phoenix girls wrestling team competed in the border battle at Central High School a few weeks ago. This tournament drew teams from across Colorado and showcased a high level of competition. Our D51 girls not only excelled in bringing home the first place title, but they also have 12 of these talented athletes who are currently ranked in the top 13 in their respective weight divisions. We are proud of their achievements and the spirit that they bring to the sport. Last week, we kicked off our second semester pre-apprentice trades program. In collaboration with Construction Trades and North America's Building Trades Union, this program is designed to pave the way for our high school students to pursue fulfilling careers. Participants in the program work towards earning a 120-hour certificate and hands-on experience. But our students are not just learning, they're preparing to excel in their chosen trades. A big thanks to our Career and College Readiness Department for working tirelessly to provide these types of opportunities for our students. Congratulations to 4 District 51 students who participated in the Mesa County Elections I Voted sticker contest. These designs will be featured on the I Voted stickers for the upcoming June primary and the presidential general election. Way to go, Whitley from Dual Immersion Academy, Kinsley from Pomona Elementary, and Layla and Berkeley from Redlands Middle School. And wrapping up tonight, January is School Board Recognition Month, and we want to once again extend our thanks to each and every one of our D51 school board members. Okay, why are we laughing? It's not of you. It's not of you. Hold on. Pause, please. Well, it's appreciation. It's a video, but it's not of them. Hold on. Just wait. We appreciate your dedication and leadership in helping share a brighter future for our students and staff. Thank you for your commitment to our district's educational excellence. The communications department set out on a quest to help us echo that sentiment and enlisted some help. We hope you enjoy this video. It's to you. It's not of you.
Your commitment to our education is incredible.
Thank you, School Board, for your dedication to providing us with a fantastic learning environment.
Thank you for supporting our schools and helping us succeed.
Thank you for all you do. Your work is greatly appreciated.
To the amazing School Board, your commitment to excellence inspires us all. Thank you for investing in our education and our future success.
Thank you, School Board, for your vision and leadership in ensuring that every student receives a quality education. Your hard work does not go unnoticed.
We are grateful to the School Board for their continuous dedication to our education. Thank you for making our schools a better place to learn and grow.
We love you.
Your hard work truly makes a difference.
Thank you for caring about me and my friends. We are very grateful for all you do. Thank you for always keeping kids first.
Thank you for helping us stay on our path to awesomeness.
All that you do for us helps make us better.
Thank you for including us all.
Thank you for helping us learn.
Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for our school. Salamat naman.
Gracias por todo.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you, BOE. Thank you for caring about me.
See, not about you or not with you. So that's all we have this month. Thank you for helping us spend some time shouting out our amazing students, staff, schools, and Board of Education.
Thank you.
Did you say Callie? Yep, so in recognition of School Board Appreciation Month, there are some cards from students from Mount Garfield Middle School, and there's also some cake back there for everybody to enjoy.
So everybody in the back, you can't leave before you have cake, so
Please
help yourselves.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate a video for us, not about us. Of us. Yeah, of us, yes. And thank you for the cake and all the cards. So, all right, we are ready for our superintendent's report.
All right, so I'll invite our CFO, Melanie Trujillo, up. And we have two items this evening, the second quarter business and investment financial presentation, and then the budget readoption as well. I should have said our award-winning CFO.
I thought Callie maybe wanted to stay up here and just keep going with this, but I guess I'll do it. All right, so board, in your packets, you had two different documents this month. One was the second quarter financial statements, which goes for activity through December 31st of this year, and then our readopted budget, which is kind of a midway point, which we can review our current budget and make any adjustments for the remainder of the fiscal year. So with that in mind, our second quarter financials and readopted budget books have been reviewed by our Fiscal Oversight Committee, and that's, of course, the community group that we have of some business and financial experts that take a look and advise us on different items. They also received an update from our auditor, similar to the one that you guys received at the board meeting in December. So overall, just some notes, some revenues and expenses are tracking as we would expect. If there was anything that needed to be trued up at this midway point or anything of note, we've adjusted it in the readopted budget, so they kind of go hand in hand this month. So in the general fund, it's typical that our revenues would lag behind our expenses. And that's because the bulk of our property taxes will be received in the remaining portions of the year. And so while it may look odd that we have about 37% of our revenues received, but almost 50% of our expenses for the year, that's expected. Just one note is that we did receive a note from the Mesa County Treasurer that because of the special legislative session and those deadlines that were changed, there might be a little bit of fluctuation in the receipt of those property taxes, with folks electing maybe to pay the full amount or a late first payment. But in any case, we're still fully anticipating that we'll receive the property taxes due to us by the end of the fiscal year. Just might look a little bit different when we look at third quarter financials compared to past years. We also have an October student count that's been finalized, and so there's the need to true that up. And then interest revenues we're continuing to earn about 5.5% on our pooled cash. And so our FOC committee also serves as our investment policy advisors. And so we'll have an additional meeting with them next month because we're looking at that and just believing that our interest rates have probably peaked. And so if we want to go ahead and lock in some of our reserve funds, we're going to be looking at that about what the rates that might be available for us to do so, just to kind of maximize those interest rates before they decline. I think some consensus, at least from the state, was shared that rates might start going down about May, would be the first time that the feds might adjust those rates down. So this slide just recaps the reasons why we would do a readopted budget. It is optional. It's not something that school districts are required to do, but we do elect to do so annually because it's really just a point for us to true up some numbers and make our budget more reflective of the actuals that we know at this point. So we adopt a budget in June before our last fiscal year has ended. And so this is the first chance that we can true up to those actual beginning fund balances coming into the year. We can true up our actual revenues based on our October student count and mill levy certifications. And then just to make any expenditure adjustments that have happened since June. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time just to focus on the general fund, which is our operating fund, and walk through some of the revenue transfer and expenditure adjustments. So starting with revenues, our budgeted student count ended up being very close to our actual October count, down 13.5 FTE from what we had budgeted. So that's within about 0.02%. So we were, all things considered, came in pretty close to what we were planning for. Our actual K-12 count is down 548 FTE from last year, but that was largely already built into our adopted budget. So a slight adjustment there of 135,000. We also, with the mill levy certification, have that adjustment to the override that adjusts by inflation, so truing that up to the certification. And then the state categorical adjustments are amounts that we get just from CDE, either based on allocations or reimbursement reports that we've submitted. But this is cumulative of special ed, transportation, CTE, ELPA, funds all net to that $737,000 adjustment. And then those earned interest revenues. Thankfully, those are coming in higher than we anticipated. So that'll offset some of those negative adjustments and an increase to anticipated revenue total of about $870,000 from adopted. Just to expand on the student count piece a little bit, we're down 643 students, preschool to 12th grade from last year. That's about a 3% decline. If we're looking back to before the decline started back in 2019-20, we're down about 1,800 students, about an 8% decline overall. So back in 1920, we had a student count of 22,046. This year's official count was 20,208. As it relates to our funding, the state continues to allow districts the benefit of an average funding, where we're either funded at our actual account or the greatest of the 3, 4, or 5-year average. And so we've been in a 5-year averaging since 2021, and we have just one higher year of enrollment, that 2019-20 year, that's included in that calculation. So that's something that we'll need to consider in future budgets. It's just that the numbers factored into our averaging are declining, and those pre-decline numbers are dropping off. So what that means is that currently we're receiving funding for almost 950 students due to averaging beyond our actual count. So that's a difference of $9.5 million this year that without averaging we would not be receiving. So we're being funded for 20,260 students. Our actual FTE is 19,310. And so just to see all of that kind of visually in a chart, there's a lot of pieces in here, and so we'll just walk through those. But the blue bars represent our total student count, and so you can see the 2018-19, 2019-20. Those numbers are higher before that decline kind of started. In 2021, there was a dip, and that was the COVID year, and then we did get some students back, but kind of that overall trend of decline going forward from that point. That's where the 1,800 students are coming from. Our actual FTE is the green bar, and then our funding through averaging is the red bar. And so that gap in between there this year is where that $9.5 million is represented. So last year you see it was a little more narrow. Through averaging it was about $5 million. But again, just that overall, if we're looking at our projected enrollments for the next few years, just that overall impact of the average funding continue to still decline. I've mentioned this before, but it feels a little bit different what we're experiencing right now as a district than what like the Great Recession. That's because of that gold overlay in there. So during the Great Recession of 2008, 2010, all of those really tough financial years in the district, we still had the same number of students to support, but it was the amount per student we were receiving that was declining. And so this feels like the reverse of that. Still a funding impact, absolutely, but the amount per student we're receiving is increasing, but the number of students that we have is what's decreasing. So the next category of adjustments are our transfers. We receive funding for our charter schools, the 3 that are chartered through us, Independence Academy, Juniper Ridge, and Mesa Valley. From their adopted budgets to their actual October accounts was a decline of 25 FTE. And so that means that we'll be transferring less of that funding onto them based on their counts. So that's a reduced transfer of $215,000. And then from our 2017 mill levy override, we keep that in a separate fund for tracking, but it's covering the cost of a professional development day and 5 student contact days. And the cost of those days has increased by almost $300,000 from last year. And so transferring more back into the general fund from those funds to cover it. So this means that in net, $500,000 less is leaving the general fund. And then lastly, expenditures. And this graph is pretty lopsided in this case, but still sticking with kind of our formula that we normally show this in. By far, the largest adjustment is that green bar, and that's a one-time move of our school staffing overages for this year into our ESSER 3 grant. So we had some funds that became available in there where we were able to take, based on our ratios, the number of staff out at our schools that we are continuing to maintain this year in our general fund and move that into the grant. So essentially that frees up $3.5 million in general fund one time. The other adjustments are much smaller in here, but our compensation oversight committee continues to meet and review market for different positions. And so attendance, library, grounds, and assessment were some of the areas that have been reviewed this year to date. And there were adjustments of just under $40,000 made to one or more positions in those areas. Lastly, continuing to look at opportunities, there was a position that was vacated mid-year, our environmental compliance tech position, and that position will not be backfilled. And so just truing up to the expected savings there. So all in all, what this means is that the readopted budget has $3.6 million less this year in expenditures than what was adopted in June. So if we were putting this all together, the result of operations for the year would be an add to our reserves of $8.6 million. But to break that down, that $3.5 million is of one-time dollars. And the other $5 million of that would be expected to be from reoccurring funds. All of this is gearing up for we know the ESSER grants are ending. And so trying not to step into that all in one year, which is why we've been setting aside some funds even in our adopted budget, and then again being able to add to that a little bit more in readopted to continue important things that are paid out of there, such as our online program, summer school for students, some software subscriptions for interventions, and other costs that were previously paid from the general fund. So this will help us ease into that a little bit, and also just the anticipation of those enrollment declines continuing. So where this would put us at the end of the year by budget is that we'd have about 20% of our current year expenditures and transfers held in reserves by the year end, which is a lot better position than we've been in the past, but just kind of always benchmarking that against our comparable districts. These are our comparable districts, the ones that we compare ourselves to in like funding, similar sized, regional, for market reviews and other purposes. And you can see we're pretty much right in the middle there, at about 18% held in reserves, but a lot of those other districts hover more closely to the 25 to 30 range. So context, I think, is something to consider. If we were going with a rule of thumb, I know CDE just presented on this to finance folks last week, a rule of thumb is about 25% to be held in reserves. Another way to look at it is about 3 months worth of payroll expenses. And so our payroll is about $15 million per month right now. So that would mean keeping $45 million in reserves. It depends a little bit on, it's unique to each district and each board's decision a little bit. in that some districts are more heavily reliant on local property taxes, which are a little less predictable than state revenue. We're about a 60-40 split, so we do still receive a pretty significant amount from our property taxes that we rely on for cash flow. So just kind of, there's no one right number, but somewhere in that ballpark is where we should probably be. Historically, our only requirement was to maintain 5% in reserves, which was incredibly low in my opinion. We wouldn't have even covered 1 month's payroll. I know you guys have heard me say that before. And so currently our board resolution is to maintain 10%, at least 10%. And so we are meeting that benchmark. We have more than that right now, but it might be something as we go into budget planning for next year, look at that resolution and just making sure that 10% is the number we want and are comfortable with, or taking the opportunity to increase that at least to 15%, if not more. I just want to say, like, when I think about reserves, it's always a push and pull because we know there are critical needs. And we know school districts in Colorado aren't funded particularly well, and we are at the bottom of that equation. So there's always that demand of critical needs now and deploying those resources, but also planning for the long term. So those are just things to consider as you think about next year's budget. So walking through some of the other funds, our auditor did make one recommendation to us, and that was to move where we're keeping our Tabor emergency 3% reserve. We've always held it in our capital projects fund, but that's pretty unique. He couldn't think of another district that does that, and so for that reason, he recommended that we moved it to the general fund, and so we're doing that in the readopted budget. It doesn't change the available funds in either of those places, capital or general, since they're restricted, but it's just moving it over. I've mentioned truing up the beginning fund balances across our funds. There were a few instances where we made interest revenue adjustments. And then preschool fund, which if you guys are looking at your budget document, it's page 19. But we're continuing to make adjustments related to universal preschool, UPK. And so there are several adjustments to our anticipated revenues and expenditures in that fund. And that'll be another thing that we look at next year. Now that we have a better 1 year under our belt, a better understanding of how those funds are rolling out. Similarly, nutrition services is page 28. And here too, that fund, the funding sources have changed a little bit with free meals for all. And so the rate that the federal meals were being reimbursed at dropped when their pandemic dollars ended. But thankfully, the state's reimbursement rate picked up a little bit. So those were pretty close to offsetting. This fund is also being impacted by higher food costs. Similar to other areas of our district, a lot of unfilled positions, especially at the beginning of the year, and so that's kind of helped offset them for this year. Lastly, the capital projects is on page 58, and there are several changes detailed out in there related to the sale of properties. We sold a vacant piece of land. We have another property under contract. And then the Career Center. You guys saw those resolutions to sell the house that they had finished and then purchase the land for their next project. And so those changes are all reflected. A couple other of changes in the capital projects were the modulars, so planning for the reconfiguration in the Fruita area, putting that into budget. And then we did have a leased building space that ended mid-year, and so adjusting that we won't be paying that cost the remainder of the year. So I know Director Heights and Director Evanson, you guys mentioned about just the legislative session. So it has kicked off. We'll be closely watching it with all of you and between now and May. Just looking for any economic forecasts that are updated, any bills that relate to our funding or other K-12 obligations. There is still the potential this year for the state's true-up process similar to ours, where there could be a supplemental appropriation that could buy down the budget stabilization factor a little bit more. It won't be a huge adjustment. I think they were anticipating maybe $24 million statewide, so then divided by everybody. So it might be $400,000 to $500,000 for us if that were to happen. So that's an unknown, something still on the horizon, but it was reported to us that it's at least a possibility. they could also leave it flat and save those funds for next year. Assessed values and property tax, so we'll be looking at that. We know that the property tax relief fix was a one-year fix. And so if there was some legislation to lower the local share, that would again put more pressure back on the state share and could impact their available funds. So just watching to see if there's any impacts there. And then there's a couple of task force or pilot groups that have been meeting, one around the school funding formula. And I think they're going to be coming out with a recommendation very shortly. And then also looking at the at-risk factor. So they're supposed to put a report out next month as well. What that means for tonight, though, is that there are 3 resolutions in your packets. These are in the standard format that we go over, but it's reappropriating based on these readoptions, any use of beginning fund balance that's shown in any fund. And then this last one sounds intense, but really it just means that we pool our cash rather than think of it as a separate banking account for each fund. And so it just allows our funds to borrow from each other to meet their cash flow obligations throughout the year, but they're all self-sustaining by the end of the year. So, are there any questions that I can answer? It was a lot. Right. I know, I was gonna say a couple of you have reached out with questions already, so I hope that we've answered those thoroughly.
So they, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so they voted to do away with the budget stabilization factor for just this year, or they just bought it down?
So what they are looking at for this year is to buy it down a little bit more. In language last year was that the budget stabilization would expire for next year's funding. So, I mean, it's in the language, it could still be changed if they don't have the available funds to it, but it is something that we're looking forward to because our funding is still reduced about $3.5 million by that factor.
Yeah, and I know, well, this last weekend we spoke about it, but then when Representative Taggart was in town before the session started, he's on the Joint Budget Committee, and so they've been looking at some of that as well, and they'd actually like to be done with the budget stabilization factor. I know I've expressed this before, but if I don't know how the state is going to be able to do that along with what they're trying to do with property taxes. So to me, it just seems like they're kind of trying to move the ball around underneath the cups, you know, and then just trying to figure out where the money comes from. But but we'll see. I know we have people, you know, in Denver working on it, and hopefully that will help alleviate some pressure. But I think one point of clarification that I think has been coming, at least out of the governor's office, is that they're going to be paying back, or that there's some language around that they're not paying back the money. What they're doing is they're just not withholding any more from the schools. So I would just caution everyone to think about when you're reading through that, we will not be likely getting back the $250 million that we have not received since 2008. So that would be amazing if we did, but I just want there to be that point of clarification that if they say that they're getting that factor taken care of and schools will be funded, that does not mean that we get any of that back money that they withheld.
I think just to expand on that a little bit is also the idea that schools will be fully funded. So it would be the first time that, according to the formula set in 1994, that they're funding it completely. But whether that still translates to school today in 2024, I think that's something that school finance task force is looking at. And so that could be another piece that if they bring back recommendations that rather than just reshuffling the money where there's some districts that gain and some that lose, and it's an additional appropriation, that would be another place that the state would need to find funding for.
Yes, very good. That's you said it very eloquently. But I caution people to think that we're going to have a windfall of money, because I think that's been in some of the wording that we've just even heard about local things that are going on. It matters to understand how we get this money and what money we do or do not get, and sometimes the restrictions that come with those monies. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I always look at those things as we only really have one way to go, is up, right, until they come to fruition, because we know that out of 178 districts, our per pupil revenue is $174. So I think any of those tweaks that they can make, we don't have a whole lot to lose, but maybe something to gain if there were to be some changes.
Yeah.
And a lot of it gets talked about in the community, and not a lot of understanding as to what we actually end up getting at the end of the year. Even if some of those things do come through, it's not a huge windfall.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, we have one. All right, does the board need a break? We only have one person for public comment, so, all right. So, all right, so next up, we have audience comments.
No, so you have 3 minutes.
Is this just for entertainment purposes tonight, Anna?
I'm going to ramble a little bit, but I have a hard time drawing figures all together.
Doctor?
Whoa, whoa, wake up. The last time I picked up the handouts out back, the grants, I noticed there was a grant, the very last one, from the CDE, a GoFundMe, chooser's discretion, was like $367,000. I don't have it in front of me, but there was a follow-up again for this handout of another cash gift, $4,107.64 for a GoFundMe, various donors. I noticed at last month's handout, there was a C attachment, and I did, and there was 11 pages worth of where it went, and it looks like it was fairly well distributed, 800, 900, 1 out of 1,000. I was wondering how those purchases were or made or carried out. Do they put in an order and say this is what they want, and this is how someone orders it and it comes in, or receipts are carried? And I was just curious about that part of grants or gifts given, because it wasn't under grants, the GoFundMe, the CDE part I saw. And then in looking at the budget part over here about the governmental design proposed budgets, I saw the little description, and I was curious, and just in looking at the one line item for Colorado Health Foundation, the DIA Playground, they've received $255,670 in 22-23, and the readopted shows the $5,130. So I know that they got the playground equipment and so forth. So I see the carryover amount where a grant was given and then like a balance that wasn't used. Who has discretion then on how to use that remaining balance? Is it for the district to be able to use then for someplace else, or is DIA or any of the others required to spend that money again, or what's remaining? Or is that something that the district can use to fill in? Then I have one other suggestion about Panorama Survey, my favorite. I would like to see if this would be for Mel also, how much do we pay Panorama to be able to create and distribute and give us the information from the surveys? I was wondering if we don't have enough people on our district staff that have academia amounts to be able to create a survey specific to the needs of our district, our area, our demographics, our population, without having to go outside of our area and go to see what Chicago and New York and everyone else is doing. I think we may have enough people with degrees that could create a survey for our district right here without having to go out and save the money. Thank you.
Do we have anybody that walked in late that may want to come do audience comment, or are we good? That's it.
Thank you. All right, we will get those questions together and get some answers for you. So I believe we have Miss Elliott's email. All right, we are moving on to consent agenda. So the consent agenda contains personnel actions and acceptance of gift items that are routine and can be approved by a single motion. Items on the consent agenda will not be discussed individually by the board unless an item is removed for individual consideration. Is anyone requesting any items to be removed from the consent agenda at this time? Okay, seeing none, I will state that the total amount of gifts this month is $27,849.64. So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any?
Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right, now moving into business items, as Melanie stated, we have the resolutions for the 2023-2024 readopted budget. So we have items A, B, and C, which, since they're all related to the budget, we could do with just one motion for all three. So do I have a motion to approve the 23-24 budget readoption, the use of beginning fund balance, and the borrow of encumbered money from other district funds?
Motion to adopt all three. Do I have to say A, B, and C?
Nope, you're good.
You're good.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Right. Any discussion on any of those items? I think we all got our questions answered with that. Okay. All right, we can go ahead and take the vote.
Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right, those pass unanimously. Next up, we have board open discussion. So board, did we have any other items that we were wanting to look? Dr. Hill, we have the organizational chart coming up for a meeting, right? Like the staff org chart? We kind of have talked. Okay. All right, so that'll, I know that's, you know, in the midst of obviously talking about declining enrollment and everything else, we've asked Dr. Hill to come back to us, because as you heard in Melanie's presentation, there was a position that they did not backfill that comes kind of from the central office administration building. And so we asked Dr. Hill to present to the board and to the community kind of what the organizational chart looks like for staff, and also positions where they have looked to help create savings and be efficient at those levels as well. So a lot of times they do that work and they don't tout that they are saving the district monies, but we need to obviously let our community know what we're doing. So, so he's going to be putting that presentation together for the board and for the community, so that so everyone knows that the district is doing a good job of kind of addressing things across the board. So, anything else for open board discussion?
I just want to, as we know with that discussion, Mr. Pope retired from the school district, and just want to wish him well in his retirement. He's done a great job for the district, and he'll be missed, and tell him to enjoy his retirement.
Sounds great. Anything else? All right. Well, that, I think that is everything we had. For future meetings, we have our next work session, February 6th. We have a board coffee. We will resume those here in February. That'll be February 10th at Rimrock Elementary. And then February 13th, we actually have our special board meeting / board retreat. At our last meeting, Mr. Welsh had actually presented, and he's been meeting with all the board members. And so, again, it's a publicly noticed meeting, and you can come and listen in, but we will be doing a board retreat on the 13th. And then February 20th, we'll have our next business meeting. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and have a good evening.
Stop it.